Hey, welcome to Smallmouth Crush Live with my co-host Epic Eric on this very cold,
chilly. Dude, it was 24 degrees. Like chilly.
I know.
Dude, freezing at my house. Freezing.
Well,
yeah. Did you have negative degrees up there?
I don't know. It was in the teens.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was looking at your forecast, man. It looked like it was getting down to 4 degrees or something.
We got a good show tonight. We got Big JP in the house as well.
Pretty stoked for this one. What's up, Big JP?
What's up, fellas? Oh, yeah.
We're going to keep it somewhat quick, short, but we could keep going. It's just my internet's been funky for some reason.
That's okay. You can drop off whenever you need to, man.
I'm not dropping off.
I'll just keep soon. I'll keep the show rolling, man. No problem, man. Well, I hope your internet's strong enough to carry us through. I've been looking forward to the stream for a while, man. Got my bud, my good friend Bill Kramer coming into the house tonight, man, to talk about tidal water fishing, a little bit of river rat chat, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. I've known Bill forever, like since the 80s, bro. How about that? We go back a ways. Anyway, who's in the house tonight? Let's do a roll call.
I see.
Got Darius King, man. He was catching them today at Kentucky, he says. Tom says he wants to drop by and be your special guest.
Who?
Tom.
Oh.
Yeah.
He says he just drove over the bridge over at Oneida Lake. He's only 45 minutes away.
Bingo, man. E-Stack, man. You know who E-Stack is, right? I've gone live with you and E-Stack, JP.
Oh, yeah. E-Stack Ed. That's when he caught that 5-pound largemouth on his. You were just about to hang up, and then he's like
literally. One. Yeah. Travis calls me sometime when you get. I love when I get a call from my buddies when they're on the water, man. Travis, you've done that a lot, FaceTime, you showed me some fish in Wisco. I've had catches with you. Now I've had catches with Trav. If anybody's fishing and you want to FaceTime me, especially during the winter, man, like Darius, you should FaceTime me. I should send you my number. I want to see you catch a Kentucky Lake bass while you're wearing the Bass Lab hat. How's that? I can dig it. Grat 84, what's up? The Adagram, Robert Linson, Matthew Weimer, Darrell Wilson, Ray Stickle, Sean Lai, of course. Wild Bill's in the house, man. What's up, Wild Bill? Juice Newton, Jig Squad, MC the Hammer. No more co-anglers. That's pretty big news, man. What do you think of that, Travis? Are you excited? Or does it even matter? It never really mattered to you that you had a co on the back. You were never bothered by it, from what I remember. Fishing opens.
Well, yeah.
JP, how about you, man?
I'm on the fence about it. I traveled doing the opens for years before I even met Travis, and my father would fish as a co, and I would fish as a boater, right? My father won Angler of the Year on the co-angler side in the Northern Division in 2012, I think it was. So, I think that not having that person to travel with, if you wanted to do them, and you had a guy that wanted to practice with you and stuff kind of sucks. But I also see why they did it. I completely understand why it was time.
Yeah. I guess the numbers weren't there. But, I hear you, man. I wonder how many dudes relied on like a travel partner that was fishing co. Little hardship for sure for some, but for others, I guess it's a good thing because now the playing field is more leveled, if you will, right? You don't have to worry about some guy not having a co, maybe sniping a fish. You know what I mean?
Right.
Have you ever had somebody snipe a fish from you, JP, when you had a co-angler on the back?
Yes.
Okay. Travis, what about you? Anybody ever snipe one behind you besides me? Fun fishing?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've talked to a lot of my buddies. I think everybody's been there. I know I've talked to Scooter. We'll hear from Kramer to see if when he was in a co-pro situation to see if he ever got it. Look at that, man. Grad 84, $9.99, starting the spray tan fun for Travis.
Okay, so my light up here.
Then gel for his beard. You can get spray on tan to get it started.
All right, what's going on with that light? You got to get one that adjusts. What do you think, Travis?
I don't know. Let's let's just move along with the show here. We don't need to talk about my big light.
Yeah, your big light. Does it have to be big?
Well, it's
the
big.
LED or what?
Thanks, Grat, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty generous.
All right, I know we're excited for this because we want to talk tidal water fishing. And this is a guy that you've fished with before, Eric.
Oh, man, for many years.
Well known on the Potomac and maybe some other tidal waters. I'd be interested to find out.
Absolutely. River Hammer for sure, man.
JP, you going to stick with us for a little while tonight?
Yep.
All right. Just making sure.
Dedicated.
Let's welcome Bill. Oh, I'm going to switch you guys over. There we go. Hey, Bill, how are you?
I'm good.
Nice.
Just hanging.
Just hanging.
Getting over a little medical situation I had that actually got delayed for a year, but here I am. I'm good.
He's the $6 million man now, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna set off every alarm in every airport I go into from here on out.
Right on, man.
I had my hip replaced. Long story, but I finally got it done. It was like a month ago, pain-free. Surgeon's a genius. You know, it was good. Good thing.
Good stuff, man. Welcome, man. Kramer, I have been talking to you about doing this for how many years now? Coming on the show, talking river rat and tidal water fishing, Potomac. I know it's good. Man. So sorry you're laid up, but I'm glad I finally got you on a Monday night. And the reason
I ain't laid up, I'm good to go. Let's rock.
I see that, man. We'll be in Florida soon enough fishing together. So
ain't
Kramer,
that the truth?
That's right. I mean, on Monday nights, I mean, you've been in broadcast, live broadcast TV and television forever. And so Monday nights was kind of a work shift for you. So, just didn't line up, man. But finally, I got him on a Monday night. He's off, man. That's what it took 62 years later. All right, here we go. Man, tell us a little bit about yourself, Kramer. I want to hear about how did you get into bass fishing, bro?
I've been fishing all my life. I have fond memories of fishing with my grandpa, live lining shrimp down outside of Sarasota. My grandfather was a regional forester. He actually helped set up national parks all over the United States, all over the U.S. My father had a very fond memories of the Northwoods of Minnesota. Okay, a place called Boundary Waters Canoe Area, which is now Boundary Waters Wilderness Area. He spent many a summer up there with his dad, my granddad, fishing and hunting and stuff, and setting up these parks up there. And he would take us up there camping. We'd go for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, like portaging in 5-6 lakes back, and
that's cool.
We just have, it was a very, very cool upbringing. Go out. We had canoes and we'd troll around and stuff, catching smallmouth and big northern pike and stuff. I remember northern pike that were like head was sticking out one side of the canoe, tail sticking out the other. Not the length, but the width. Giant northerns and stuff. I mean, just had a ball. And eventually, my mom was like, I don't want to camp anymore. If you want to come back up here, let's buy a place. And in 1979, he bought a 5-acre island in the middle of nowhere.
How about that?
85 miles to the closest town. We drink the water, and we still have it. It's still in the family. We drink the water right out of the lake. It's killer. I mean, the lake's it's huge. I don't know how many acres it is, but it's like 45 miles long, 40 some odd miles wide. Hundreds of freaking islands and 5 or 6 rivers flowing in, and 400 feet deep in spots, rock piles everywhere, weed beds. It's just fantastic. That's how I grew up fishing.
Yeah, man. So what was your introduction to the Potomac, man? Because we're here to talk about tidal water fishing tonight. So people want to know, man, you've been a river rat since when? What was your first excursion on the Potomac River?
The first time I ever fished Potomac River is a place called Violet's Lock, 1976.
How about that?
And I actually had a friend of mine that was in music that was also into fishing. And so we'd go out and do a gig one night. And then, after the gig, we'd go fishing. No BS. We did it a lot. And I got so enthused. I was already really into fishing because every time I went up to Canada with my dad, I'd be out fishing every morning, every night, whatever. Really already into it. So he introduced me to the Upper Potomac. And I ended up meeting this guy, Monty Embry and Jimmy Garrifle. They own, fishing and hunting shops in Rockville and Gaithersburg. and they really introduced me to tidal water bass fishing. And you know, I just, God, what year? Like 1981 or something. I bought a winter bass boat, and by 1989, I was winning tournaments.
That's crazy, man.
The first red man tournament I ever entered, I won it. The first Eastern Divisional I ever fished, I won it.
Wow,
it was crazy. The first club tournament I ever fished, I won it.
That's crazy.
A buddy of mine in a club said, Kramer's the only person I know that'll spend $3,000 to win $300.
What did that mean? Tell us what that meant.
It meant that I would put the time and energy into it because I was really, really into it to win it. You know, I didn't want to just show up and fish. I wanted to win.
Yeah.
You know, once you start winning things, it becomes part of your blood. You know.
Yeah, man.
You want to do more and more and more and more. And you know, I didn't know that there was, I didn't know anything about tournament fishing. And I was in Angler and Archer one day, which was Monty Embry's shop. And Monty's dad, Elmer, said, as much as you fish, you ought to fish these tournaments. I'm like, tournaments? What the hell is that? And he's like, he handed me a brochure for Red Man.
No way.
I entered it and I won it. I absolutely won. I won. It was like, 4,000 some hundred, I got first place. It was 18 and change. I won. I got lunker in that tournament also. So it was like $4,700 for a win back in the 80s.
Holy crap, man!
Smokes. Right.
How many boats did that tournament draw?
God, 200, 210 back in the old days.
Wow, man! Yeah,
Maryland Bass Federation, the SQT, we'd have over 200 boats in it.
I remember those days, man. So how'd you win that first Red Man? So let's talk about what was your pattern back in the day.
Dragging jigs down drop-offs. So
imagine that, because that guy over in that corner right there, right in the top corner, the host of the show, the founder, he says all he needs right now is a jig to do his work. And look at that, your first turn. Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
We got a guy way up north and a guy down south on the Tidal River, a jig. That's all he needed.
I got introduced to jig fishing, early on, and back then, I mean, it was a place by the name of Smoots Bay was undeveloped, and it had hard drop offs. There was grass rimming it, and they would set up on the drop offs coming up to spawn on the grass beds.
I remember those days.
Drop offs, and little piece of wood and piece of the barge and stuff, and I knew where every single piece of wood and every single piece of barge was in Smoots Bay, and I would just run around Smoots Bay, man. I'd win tournaments. It was
incredible.
Crazy. Spoils outside the spoils, a place called Fox Ferry. All that. It was just back then. That was the deal. We called that
amazing.
Uptown, meeting up around the
Yeah.
Yep. There was a tournament one time that went out of Aquia Creek.
Yeah.
I ran all the way up to Washington Channel from Aquia Creek.
Wow. That's a long
I had
run.
To stop and get gas on the way back.
That's crazy.
I won the tournament. And nobody else was up there, man.
No, man. That was unknown up there at the time. What was your go-to jig and what was your trailer? What color was your jig?
I was actually a Stanley jig boy. Lonnie actually took care of me. I wasn't really on his pro staff, but we got to know each other out on the invitationals a little bit. I was fishing the invitationals when all those guys at Basil Bacon, and that's how I met Jimmy Histon, was out on the invitational trail. I mean, that was actually, it was a huge learning thing because, fishing the St. John's and, all these other places that I'd never been before in my life, Santee Cooper, all these places I'd never been before. I didn't know anything about Florida bass. I'd never fished Florida bass in my life until I fished the invitationals. They're a little bit different. They ain't like they are up here. They're different, I drew out with Houston the second day. He was on nothing. And I found all these fish down on Lake George, back when Lake George had grass in it. And we went down there and smacked them. And then he was like, I've got nothing else to do. I said, well, you see where I'm fishing. Just fish around me. I don't care. That's fine. It's a good thing I did that. It really, because I did the guy a solid, and he remembered it. He absolutely remembered it. And he took care of me, man. We became friends.
Right, you guys ended up shooting a TV show. Fast forward, Kramer's.
We fished. We did. So that picture's on the Susquehanna, the one behind me, and I don't know. We caught over 100 fish on spinnerbaits that day. The next day, we went out and fished all topwater, and I don't know how many caught. We caught multiple sixes on Spooks.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So let's back up a second, man. So you started fishing tournaments, and then at some point you started Potomac Guide Service, right? What year was that?
I started Potomac Guide Service before I started fishing tournaments.
Holy heck. So what year was that? What year was that?
Oh God. So first tournament I fished was probably first tournaments. So first Redman I won was, hold on a second. I got the trophy right here.
He's got the gear to show. He's got the hardware. Look at that. That's a spittoon.
Yep, May 15th, 1988. I don't know why my earbuds keep falling out.
That's
1980. Right. So that's really, I probably started fishing tournaments in 87. I started my guide service in like 84.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the reason I started the guide service was to spend more time on the water.
Right.
I mean, Travis, you got to understand that. I mean, that's, time on the water is all of it. So I mean, that's why I did it. And I didn't know anything about the other guys that were around. I didn't care. It wasn't like I was trying to compete with them. I was just trying to do my own thing. And the more I was on the water, the better I was. And then when I started winning, and then getting in bed with, not bed, but getting in the boat with people like Jimmy Houston, everything just exploded. I mean, my motto was fish with the winners, because the other guys that were, out there guiding, they weren't winning. I was. And it made a difference. It made a difference.
For
it
sure.
really did.
I mean, Travis,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. I'm just saying, from Travis's perspective, I mean, Travis had a really great track record, still does, and catches them. I imagine, Travis, that drives a lot of your biz, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, darn right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you perform on your guide service and you perform in tournaments, and then you get people like Jimmy Houston and Shaw Grigsby that like you and have you on their program, all of a sudden your business just explodes. And TV time. I mean, I can't buy advertising like that.
Yeah.
I mean, a half an hour on ESPN on a Saturday morning with Jimmy Houston. Come on. What, are you kidding me? Buy half an hour of time on ESPN and see what it costs you.
Yeah, right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Back in the day, what was that worth? That's crazy, man. And
I always wanted to put a billboard, though, coming into town here with my face on it.
Could you do it still?
I don't think I could anymore, but I wanted to.
Why not?
I don't want to be that guy.
I think that's a great idea, Travis. Can't you just get a small one, man? Like,
You know how those realtors, they all got their face on the side?
Why don't you do it, dude?
Yeah.
Do it. We'll start a GoFundMe page for the small.
There you go. That's your motto. Get your rod wet with Travis.
Yeah. That's something JP would do.
Yeah, big JP.
With or without the beard, JP?
What's that?
With or without the beard?
For the billboard?
Yeah.
Handlebar mustache.
I got you.
Oh, you're going to do a handlebar mustache if you do a billboard, JP?
Oh, yeah. You got to have something where they're driving by and they're like, what the hell is that? And then they remember it. You know what I mean?
So, JP, have you ever fished the Potomac?
One time.
Okay.
Tell us about your experience there. Yeah.
My experience was good. It was my father had made it down there for the BFLs or whatever, and I went down and fished with him. And it was when it had a lot of milfoil in it. And we didn't have to go far from the takeoff, and we were donking around 7-inch Sankos in the milfoil, catching a lot of fish. Yeah, it was fun.
What year was that?
Go to.
That was in 2011 or maybe 10.
Okay.
Maybe even 9. Maybe 2009. It was a long time ago.
How did he do with the derb?
My father, he finished. He was the last guy in the cut. So whatever the cut was back then for the 2-day regional, he was the last guy in on the cut. And that Kirk guy, the old NFL player, he sunk his Ranger in that boat because there was like 6 footers on the second day. Yeah.
Oh, that must have been one of those big, big hurricane, not hurricane, but big thunderstorms coming through.
Yeah.
They pop up down there on the southern Maryland, man. It gets kooky sometimes. Wow.
All I can tell you is, rough water, 20-foot boats. Slow down, man. Come on.
Yeah, right.
If you got it, okay, so, all right, Thousand Islands. entrance to the St. Lawrence. When the wind's blowing the wrong way, you can't go straight into the river. You got to go zigzag. You go straight in the river, you're going to fill your boat up. I don't care what boat you have.
That's a fact.
I mean, you just gotta learn how to do it. And I guess some guys just don't, they haven't had enough time in the boat, or they just don't know.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
so
I've never filled my boat up, never once. But then again, I'm a little bit more cautious than some people, I guess.
I can't say I haven't. I chili dipped the wave or two pretty heavy on the Potomac a couple times running from a lightning storm, which was silly.
I never took one over the bow because that's for darn sure.
Oh no.
I did. But
no,
but I've never filled it up to sank a boat. That's for darn sure. And
I didn't sink the boat, but we had some water in the boat. Let's just say that, man. Let's just say that. So you had your guide service. You expanded up into the upper, the Susquehanna. So you were doing largemouth and smallmouth.
Oh, dude, the smallmouth was fabulous up there. It was incredible. I was running 22 guides up there. We had 1,100 guide trips on the Susquehanna in 1 year. 1,100.
Travis, what do you think of that? You could run 22 guys up there. Yeah, man, it was insane. Those were the heydays.
Nuts. Those were.
That place was fishing ridiculous. Solid. Yeah. And you weren't the only guide service up there, and you were still booking that many people.
So, Butch Ward, God bless him. He passed on.
Man.
He was
famous
guiding
river
up there.
guy.
I ran into him. He was, running with Ken Penrod and some other guys.
Yeah.
They were guiding up there. And I ran into him, on one of those days when we were booked solid, had 22 boats. And he's like, "Hey, Bill, how many boats you got out?" I said, 22. He was like, "Bullshit." I was like, "Dude, I'm not lying to you. We got 22 boats out today, and we're solid for 3 months. 22 boats every single day for 3 months."
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It was insane.
It was world-class smallmouth fishing at the time. Yeah, I mean, there were so many fish over 5 pounds. I mean, it's not the St. Lawrence. I don't know if the St. Lawrence was jamming at that point. Probably wasn't.
It was not, because I was fishing the St. Lawrence, doing the BFLs, Redmans, and all that stuff, and invitationals and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was back before the zebra mussels came in on the St. Lawrence, so it was a different beast. I mean, you could actually win tournaments with largemouth up there. And as a matter of fact, the last invitational I fished up there, it was one with largemouth.
That's wild.
It was. Yep.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I want to go back in time to your first tournament wins and how you fished the river and that Stanley jig. What was your trailer?
Uncle Josh pork rind.
Holy heck, man. A pork frog? And what color was the jig?
So straight black. And
straight
pork rind
black.
Blue. Yep.
How about that, man?
Essentially, 3/8 ounce and a half ounce, depending upon the water depth.
Yeah.
12-pound Pastrana on a 6'6" medium to medium heavy.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
God, where's that luge? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I gotta find this old luge childry. If I can find it.
Luge childry.
Oh man. Oh, here it is. BB1N.
That ain't no BB1. Oh my God, that's a David Fritz cranking reel, bro.
But it was made by Shimano. This is a BB1N, one of the first ones ever put out.
Those are classics, bro. You recognize that, JP? Man. You ain't no cranker, so you know what that is?
The BD1 flat? No.
BB1N.
Oh yeah, that's an old lose reel.
Yes, sir, it is. Yeah. And that was pretty much the best we could get that time of year, or that during those times. I had. I did have some, Daiwas and stuff, but I got to tell you, they back then they were junk. Now they're great, but back then they were junk.
What was on the front of your deck during that first win of your tournament? Clearly, had a black and blue, jig pork rind on the black mouth, straight black.
I had was a jig. Every single. If I'd break one off, I'd just pick up another rod. And when I'd break all 5 or 6, I'd sit down and retie all 5 or 6 rods. No
Travis,
BS.
what do you think of that?
Yeah, I'd go a little crazy with that setup, but
no, I'm just talking about having nothing but jigs on the front deck.
I know that, but
are you identifying with that, bro?
I get it. It's I do the same thing, but
yeah,
it's it can be a little extreme. Now, do you just pull them out from the rod compartment, or do you have them stacked?
No, I'd have them on the deck, wrapped down.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd have. So I was using bless. Berkeley Series 1, 6.6 medium heavy.
And why 12-pound
I
test?
owned like 5 or 6 of them. All 5 or 6 were on the freaking front deck with 12-pound Stren blue.
Yeah,
mono.
yeah. But why? But why 12-pound?
That's what I grew up doing.
And
that
now, yeah. Oh, we lost Travis. We'll keep going. Okay. He said his internet was giving him trouble. So contrast that, and then talk about the evolution of your river experience, because when I met you, you had a few more things in your game. Maybe that was just the May time of year. You knew what you were going to be doing. Were you throwing spooks back then? Because I remember when I first fished with you, dude, the guy is a big fish spook bait.
Can you see the grooves? You see
That's
the grooves?
unbelievable, dude.
Wow.
And that bone plastic, man.
That's from nothing but the hook scraping back and forth.
You've obviously retired. Do you still throw that bait, or have you retired it?
Nah, there's no way I'm going to throw this bait, man. This sucker's won me a lot of money. It caught plenty of 8s. I mean, it might sink. I don't know.
Wow.
Spook was a bad deal. It was
is that the Super Spook good. Junior?
No, sir.
No, that's a full-size spook.
That's just a regular old head and spook, and it was in silver.
And what's interesting about that, Kramer, that's that bone plastic. You wouldn't see that now.
No, heck no. And that's number 2. That was my favorite. My second all-time favorite. This was the Zell Roland with the 3 hooks, but you see all the grooves that are in that one.
Dude,
there's 2 sets of grooves in this one.
Baits. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Deal, man.
And Kramer,
Go ahead.
You didn't put down a spook. I remember being with you on a trip, man, and the water was dirty. And I'm like, got top water, clear water. Nah, man. Kramer just picked up that spook and went to wearing them out on that color. Check that spook out, dude. You torched him on that day above the Wilson Bridge. Remember that giant grass bed that was up there?
So the thing with that with that grass bed is there was star grass that were bumps on the very outside edge,
which is the native grass of the Potomac River.
It is,
and it's coming back. Or they're replanting it too.
There's plenty of star grass in the river. There is.
Oh yeah, more than I've ever seen in a long time.
It changes every year, man. It just does. Every winter, it's they say you can't plant corn in the same field every single year. Eventually, all the nutrients get sucked out. I don't get that with aquatic vegetation, because aquatic vegetation gets all its nutrients out of the water. Doesn't get its nutrients out of the soil. So
that's right.
Why does aquatic vegetation come into? I don't know. Pollution.
Got to rotate those crops. So let's talk about the evolution of you and the river and how it's changed. And you're starting out, you're winning tournaments. You're kind of a power fisherman back there, right? Did you have spinning rods back in the day on your deck, or are you all power?
Nah, back then when I was jigs, if I had a spinning rod on my deck, it had a jig on it. I'm not saying I didn't have any spinning rods, but I didn't. We didn't do any Senkos, or we did drag around a few worms here and there, a little bit. But really, the better quality bites, man, were like on a jig or spinner bait. So
you were a spinner bait guy. I remember meeting you. You were pretty crafty. This is what I remember about you when I first met you, man. Spinner bait, spook, Rico, frog, jig for sure.
How about that Rico?
Swim jig, Rico right there.
Can you even tell what color it is anymore?
Yeah, I see. It's a lightning shad. I see the red tail. That's so incredible, man. But did you get that one at Delta Tackle?
No, I got this one from Ricky Clun. So Rick Clun was the first guy to import these, and I was fishing the Invitationals, and he had them, and we're buying them from him for $15 a piece.
Wow.
I haven't lost many of them because I throw them on heavier pound test.
Sure.
But I mean, dude, that Rico's got to be 30 years old. It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. When I was fishing Invitationals, it was like 1990. What year is this? So it's 40 years old.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. 35 right there. That's incredible.
Man. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's go ahead.
No, so how has the river changed? I mean, like contrast it
God.
today versus back when you first were fishing it. Maybe go to the heyday. Like, what would you say was the heyday of the Potomac River? Like, what
20 years
was
ago.
really what was driving that
What
20
was that?
years ago? 20 years ago.
20 years ago. You know, I mean, it was back when there was grass from essentially Washington Channel all the way down to Nanjemoy.
Yeah.
Nanjemoy hasn't had grass in it in 20 some odd years at least. So
Yeah.
What happened downstream, like Nanjemoy and Port Tobacco, dude, there was grass all the way down past 301 Bridge. I mean, Allen's Fresh, there was grass in that. Not anymore.
Holy hell!
I mean,
you
would. I mean, I caught largemouth off of blowdowns, dead trees in the water right at the 301 Bridge. No BS.
Wow,
Caught
that's right. Mouth of the bay.
Largemouth and milfoil beds in a place called Aqualand, which is a marina right above the 301 Bridge.
Right. Absolutely, I know it.
Yep, no BS. Now,
so what do you think happened, man? What happened? Why was it the heyday then? It was just
salt.
grass. Yeah,
I think it was salt. Salt that came up when you get marine water. When you get down below the 301 Bridge, you got marine water down there, meaning ocean water. Okay, I think with less flow, you get more marine water coming upstream. In the tidal waters. I'm no marine biologist by any means, but that's what seemed to have happened because there was thousands of acres of eelgrass down there. Thousands.
Right.
All gone. All of it. All of it. All the milfoil down there was gone. Nanjemoy's been it hasn't had grass in it for 20 some odd years. You got to get up to Potomac Creek before you start getting grass.
Yeah.
Below Potomac Creek, there are some little creeks below Potomac that have some grass in them. They're not worthy. But upstream around DC, which was Wilson Bridge and north, that's where I did a lot of damage for a lot of years.
Absolutely.
When they built the new Woodrow Wilson Bridge, it killed all the grass up there. Killed it all.
Yeah,
they actually clamshell dredged a huge channel across the whole river to build the new Wilson Bridge. And when you clamshell dredge, it goes down, grabs a bunch of muck, brings it up, and puts it on a barge. Well, you got all this stuff coming out of the clamshell. Just imagine hundreds of years of that place. That place was like a cesspool until 1963.
Clean Water Act. Lady Bird Johnson.
Yep, Lyndon Johnson put in the Clean Water Act, and that's what started to clean up the Potomac. And the Potomac started to turn around. And by the 80s, I mean, there's still raw sewage that goes in the river, but it's not like it was.
Sure.
And they're trying to correct it. The Anacostia, they're saying, is swimmable now.
How about that? They've been working on that for several years.
Oh, it was horrible. I mean, I used to catch fish in the mouth of the Anacostia almost up to the Navy Yard.
Oh, yeah.
Get past the Navy Yard, not so much.
Right.
And of course,
Washington
pretty good there. Was dynamite for a long time. And then, all front of the Kennedy Center and all that stuff. I mean, the Bridge Islands up in D.C. I mean, smallmouth, largemouth. The place was it was incredible. But when they did that, it killed off all the when they built the Wilson Bridge, it killed off all the grass. The grass has never come back. Never. Yeah. How many years ago? 2011?
Yeah. 2011. It's been that long. I know.
Yep.
I know.
Yep. It's been a long
incredible,
time.
Man. So that's put a lot more pressure on the tournament action, and then the condensed area where fishermen are actually have to go to compete. It's it's mid-river down, dude. It's putting so much pressure on that group of fish. It's amazing. It still throws off the bags it does.
It's real. It's something. I'm a tournament fisherman. Don't get me wrong. I've been doing it forever. I still do it.
Yep.
I mean, I still win some. I had. We won't talk about last year, but years before, I'd always win 1 or 2 or 3, and place the money a bunch. So last year, not so much. It's gotten really, really bad. I mean, Potomac River always had a really bad reputation for people, pulling in on top of you and all that.
Yep.
Something. It's constant now because it's fishing so small.
It is fishing small.
I mean, I still to this day still hunt.
You do.
I mean, you got to hunt to find, and I still hunt. And this year I found stuff that didn't work out so well, but I don't like fishing in crowds. But the problem is right now you want to win Belmont Bay. There you go. I mean, a bunch of tournaments won out of Belmont Bay for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But there's 40 or 50 boats in there.
Yeah.
You know,
So you
those
team
5
fish
by
a little
5.
bit, like not last year, but the year before. You and Zot won,
Yep.
which is the most competitive team trail. The Potomac teams. You won. You guys won Anglers of the Year, right?
Right, team of the year,
That
and we won
team
one,
of the year.
placed the money 5 times. I mean,
Yeah, you did. Yep.
our average 2 years ago, our
Yeah.
daily average,
Yeah.
17.6 pounds a day.
That's pretty strong for the Potomac River.
That's, I don't care where you go. That's pretty darn
Yeah.
strong. I'll take
That's
17.5
exactly right.
every single day. Now, if
That's
it's
exactly
pounds,
right.
you're like, you're the bottom 200, but
That's exactly right. You had a secret
Right.
weapon that year. I know what you threw. Oh, there's no. Yeah, we don't talk.
We're not going to talk about it, huh?
Oh, we
Well,
can't. No, he's sworn to secrecy because one's a Bass Lab Ma. We ain't telling. No
Oh,
way.
come on.
Nah, I can't do it.
That one tournament.
Yep.
So we won 2 tournaments on that thing,
Yep.
and dude, there was like 15 boats around me, and I'm whacking 4.5s, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Seriously. And
Yeah,
it was like, it was like, candy. It was crazy.
This is a Bass Lab creation?
Yes.
Well, it's between the 2 of us because we sort of worked that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it's got to be, I'm going to just guess, you don't have to say nothing, but it's got to be some sort of spinnerbait and or a chatterbait. That's where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. We call it the pig.
Mum's the word because it catches pigs. So I fished with Kramer and I was throwing the pig. Let's be honest. I was throwing the pig behind him in a grass bed.
Yes, you were. And you spanked me one day. I mean, it hurt.
Big ones and a lot of them.
Yep.
And we started.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Because I did the original.
It was, well, you got to give it to the guy who originally did it, but you.
Oh, yeah.
So
I did a little bit different though.
It's not an unknown thing.
Oh, it is in my mind.
It is sort of. Yep. So we'll let that one go. But I got to tell you, the main deal for us out there for probably the last 5 years has been a 3/8 and a half ounce jackhammer, white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've used a variety of different trailers on it.
Let's talk about your setup because there's a lot of questions about your jig setup. We went over that. That's the old jig setup. Since you're not throwing a jig as much, but you still throw a swim jig. But what is your chatterbait setup? Because you are deadly with it. I know a lot of people want to know. You're amazing in tidal rivers and grass with a chatterbait. You're amazing in Florida when we go to Florida with a chatterbait. You put a chatterbait in Kramer's hands. We did, man. You're a master at it. So what's your setup, man? Talk about it. Rod, reel, line size, etc.
So I throw a 7.2 medium heavy moderate. 15-pound fluoro.
Yep.
6.3 to 1 reel. That's my whole setup. It's not the easiest rod to find. It's 7.2 or 7.3 moderate. I mean, not everybody and their grandmother makes it. A lot of guys are throwing. I can't throw braid, not with a chatterbait. I just and I'll say this about that: the Berkeley 100% trilene. The reason I throw that line, it stretches some. Yep. Yeah. 100%. Try it. Well, it stretches some, and it sinks, which I like because I'm slow rolling my chatterbaits. I don't really put any action into them. I don't pop them or any stuff like that. I do let them load up on grass, and I just keep lining and it pops out.
That's
a
little tip for everybody tonight.
It works. So don't jerk it out. Just keep winding, and it eventually just pops free.
Andy B, it's a graphite. It's a graphite rod he's throwing. He's not throwing glass on their chatterbait rod.
No. I don't throw any glass. The only thing I throw glass on is crankbaits. That's it.
You are a big glass fan, man. Did you ever dig up that minus?
Stuff, yes.
Did you ever dig up that -1 that's got all the paint chewed off?
Hold on,
Fire Tiger. He might be able to dig it up.
It's actually still tied on. I gotta dig it out.
This is a really cool -1. And I got a trap of Kramer's, man. He's famous for getting bone. I got another one in here that's got like
this one actually isn't a -1, but it is. Eric knows this one very well.
That's the one I painted. You got to give me that fucker back.
And guess what? It's still tied on, and it's a $25 Hank Parker Berkeley glass rod.
Holy hell, dude, that's amazing.
Back in the day, you can't get them anymore, but it was cheap, and I got to tell you, it works. It definitely works. I throw that on 12-pound mono.
And here's what's really cool about that bait that he had tied on. It is, to me, this is the shit I love, because me and Kramer will go out. You'll have me come out and practice with you. I'm always bringing something goofy, something funky behind you, like the pig or that bait right there.
You know that's the truth.
That's a fact. That's a fact, right? And for some reason that bait was getting a little bit more bit than. And dude, I think you were throwing the same thing. So we was it depth, speed, cadence, a combination of all of them? But I took that bait and I dipped it. I dipped it in Spike It. I used a colored Sharpie marker, and then I dipped it in garlic Spike It to get that super hot freaking orange. So it could have been all three. Who knows, man? Who knows?
I don't dig the garlic thing. I think that's whatever. I don't think fish go up to a bait and you smell like garlic. I'm going to eat you. I don't think that.
They were sucking on it, man. That's all I had. Yeah, right. I mean, I was saying it's garlic because that's all. That's the only dip I had. So anyway, it was a super hot, it made it way super more hot in terms of color, because that thing was fresh.
It's definitely a much brighter orange than what comes on the bait itself.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I think the matte finish on that makes a difference.
I agree. We used to do that with traps. Like when we'd get a rattle trap that had lost all its chrome, or you could scrape it off, I would dip it and make it a hot orange trap. In the dye.
I got you.
Yeah. So the same concept as that bait. Where am I going to re-chrome a rattle trap? You know what I'm saying? So if all the chrome's off, dip it in your freaking. You know what I mean?
You're saying you take traps and you I don't think you see the color that you paint them like that. Yeah.
Oh heck yeah, dude. Yeah, we love tinkering. Kramer, you're a nail polish guru from way back, man.
The hell man.
Yeah. Sharpies.
I've got a box of Sharpies and I've got a box of nail polish in my boat always.
And now you got another sharp thing. I showed this to Travis the other day. I'm not showing this tonight, but remember so Kramer calls me up and he goes, "Hey man, I'm trying to repaint these ChatterBait blades because we've all had that thing,
I'm not
right?"
going to show you the name of it.
But that's a silver blade that I made black and like a little blue. So we'll let you know if it works this season, and maybe we'll tune into the next River Rat show. And you'll get another tip from. But I think this one worked pretty good. You got to admit, man. I think
we'll do. We've been focused a lot on the fishing back in the day on the Potomac, and I want to hear some more stories about that. But Kramer, if you wouldn't mind, maybe jumping back on in the next month or two, maybe as we get into early spring, and kind of do a rundown on what you expect the river to be fishing like this year. What are some of the current things that you see working, and kind of do a part 2 on that, because obviously we could talk for hours and hours here on the tidal water. But a couple questions I have, what besides the Potomac, have you fished other tidal waters? And what you have?
Have you fished the Hudson River?
Upper Bay?
Have you fished the Hudson? Bay, no. The Hudson River.
Dude, I've won a bunch of money on the Hudson River. Man.
Did you fish the Invitational on the Hudson River?
I did not. I was fishing red mans up there. The first red man that I and I'll never forget this. I go into this freaking convenience store up there, and I said, "How do you get to this place?" And the guy behind the counter says to me, he said, "You can't get there from here." I couldn't believe he said it. Anyway, the first red man I fished up there, I ended up second. And I was in the back of Roundout Creek, and guess what I was throwing? I'll give you one guess. Jigs, black and blue jigs. Yep. And I was catching big smallmouth and big largemouth. I had a really big fish jump off, and I would have won that tournament. If I hadn't lost that one, I would have won that tournament. It's a really, really tough fishery. I fished all the way to the Troy Dam, dude. I've been all the way up there.
Yeah, I live on the Hudson River.
I've been all the way down to almost to West Point, almost. it's a tough fishery. It's an old fishery. It's a very polluted fishery. I hate to say that, but it is. But I mean, it's a lot of neat little backwater areas, and you better know what you're doing on that place because there's rock. I think that place is more treacherous than the Potomac.
Wow.
Potomac,
how about that?
The Potomac upstream, up around DEC. If you get out of the main channel, you're on your own. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've seen run into Foxbury. Donzi doing like 70 miles an hour.
Oh my God!
And lodged itself on Foxbury. He had to be doing 70. I'm like waving at him. Stuff,
Holy crap!
The guy just blows past me and runs right into it. And the girl in the cockpit thrown out of the boat. Nobody got hurt.
Is that right above the spoils?
Yeah, yes, Travis, that's between. Remember that area I was there? That's what Pete Stanisiak hit. Remember I showed you how to get through, and then we went into that back under that bridge.
Yeah,
I caught a couple on the black and blue jig.
Yeah.
That's what Stanisiak hit.
Right.
That's Fox Ferry. Stano didn't listen to your instructions.
It's an old gravel barge landing. So we were talking about Smoots Bay. Smoots Bay and the spoils
gravel pit
were both gravel pits. They were digging gravel out and taking it for construction. Yeah. And there was a barge landing that they used to put all the gravel on. And that's the old barge landing. This is back when they were building DC and stuff, man. I mean, it's ancient stuff. I mean, it really is. It's that place. But anyway, I think
how many largemouth came off of Fox Ferry? Holy crap!
Oh my God, unbelievable! We used to sit there anchored down, never move. We catch 60 fish a day.
Could you do that today? There?
No, population isn't there, man. No,
you can still catch a couple, Travis. Like I'll go up there in the winter, December, with Ray Stickle, as a matter of fact, and we'll fish north above the Wilson Bridge. You could still catch some good ones, but it's nowhere near the numbers. Like in the heyday, dude, it was loaded, Travis.
Right.
Loaded. All hardcover fishing, cranking, throwing a jig, dragging something. It was ridiculously good. So much fun, man. It's a shame.
I used to fish bridge pilings up there, like Woodrow Wilson Bridge, 14th Street Bridge, railroad bridges. All those bridges. Memorial Bridge. I went up there last year and I fished every single bridge piling from Woodrow Wilson all the way up. You know how many largemouth I caught? None. You know how many smallmouth I caught? None.
It's crazy.
0. That says a lot. And I could,
he knew, and you know that section of the river. I mean, you know where rocks are, rock piles, wood, barges. I mean, you knew it. It's where you made your living.
And I still know it. I mean, it's not. I've probably forgotten more than I remember up there. But whatever. I've gotten older. But to go up there and fish every single bridge piling with better techniques, drop shots and stuff like that. I used to just throw tubes on it,
Yeah.
So I'm throwing crankbaits, I'm throwing drop shots, I'm throwing a jig on it. I never caught a largemouth or a smallmouth. And I used to be able to go up there and catch 100.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Yep.
It's the population's not there. Why? Because the cover's not there. And you lost all your spawning areas because there's no grass.
Yep.
Without the grass, you don't. You do have some spawning areas back there, but not like it used to be.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, man.
Yep.
It's a different fishery altogether. So Hudson, man, it's pretty cool. JP, how many tournaments have you fished on the Hudson River?
3.
How'd you like it?
Okay.
I liked it. We cashed every time we fished on the Hudson River. It was really good. But then what they did was they implemented a 15-inch limit instead of a 12-inch limit.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's not what it used to be. It used to be really good. There used to be a ton of chestnut, milfoil. There still is really good hard cover. But when the milfoil left the Hudson River, the bass fishing really took a hit pretty bad. So
I believe it, man. Did you go all the way down to Wappingers?
I would fish down Wappingers, around Catskill area. I live in Castleton, so I'm just north of the Catskill Creek, right? And Catskill's a really good area down there. The Eagles Islands and that. And I used to fish it all the time. I mean, literally, I could have my boat in the Hudson River in 3 minutes from my house. It's really.
Are you kidding me? Wow, that's amazing. You're that close.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys for stripers, right?
What's that?
You've done the striper stuff on the Hudson, right? Is that
what me and Joey, we live scoped up some stripers this spring.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice. Did you ever go up above the dam?
Above the dam is very good. Up in Waterford and all that. Oh yeah. We go up there and catch a ton of smallmouth, just throwing bluff balls with spinner baits and stuff. No tide, right? So that's a lot different. It's a lot more predictable.
A little bit different, right?
Are they big smallies up there above the dam?
Nah, 2.5, 3 pounders.
Okay, gotcha. So not the St. Lawrence quality.
Not worth it.
No way.
Not worth it.
No.
I was like, not worth it. For some people, a 3-pound smallmouth, the biggest they'll ever catch.
Wow.
Now, the gobies are in the Hudson River, and they've migrated to the Mohawk River, so it's only a matter of time before they get to Lake Champlain. But it would be interesting to actually put some time in on the Hudson to see if the smallmouth have gotten bigger. But from what I remember, they had to have largemouth.
Really? When did they discover gobies? Is there a big population, or is it just starting?
Oh yeah, on the Mohawk River, you can't drop for the walleyes. They do like a pink jig head with a half a crawler on it, and you can't drop it down without getting gobies if you get to the bottom now.
Holy moly! How far is the Mohawk River from you?
That's half hour.
Oh wow! Are the smallies getting bigger in the Mohawk River?
They get really big bags in the Mohawk in the fall, but in the summertime, it's still not really that great. So
okay, interesting. Give it time.
Yeah.
Now that population, that food's in there, that's incredible.
Yeah, you give them food, they'll grow. Absolutely.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Grow.
Wow, man. So what was your most memorable win? I mean, we can put a bow on it tonight with Kramer with his most memorable win.
I like that.
Yeah, and then we, come back for session 2, and we can take tidal water fishing too. Because I know people really got a lot of questions for you about, the river, how it's fishing now, tips and tricks.
That's a tough one.
You've won so much, I know.
I've won hundreds of tournaments on the river. Honestly,
he literally has. I mean, that's
from
crazy to
club
say.
Tournaments to Redmans to team tournaments and stuff. I mean, the first $10,000 open they ever had on the Potomac River, first one they ever had. Me and Ed Lochran won that one.
Yeah,
you know the name.
Ed Lochran, who fishes
Ed Lochran. Yeah, Ed Lochran grew up in Bethesda, and
he sure did. Good guy.
We've been friends since he was 16 years old.
Yep.
And we ended up, fishing a bunch of tournaments together, and we won that one. That was a good one.
So that's your top team tournament. That's your top team tournament.
Yeah, but just because of the way it all went down,
Yeah.
I mean, so we caught a giant, almost 7-pound fish off this one lone dock up in Belmont Bay, and this is before anybody really knew about Belmont Bay. And
right.
we'd caught some good ones there, and he was adamant that there's a good one on there. We went around that dock 3 or 4 times, and we finally caught like this 1 7-pounder. You're looking for your top 5 fish, by the way. Okay, this was a 5-fish tournament, not a 10-fish tournament.
Yeah.
And I'd been catching some really big ones down on the barges on Arkandale.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
I had one rod set up with a jig for the barges on Arkandale, and it had 65-pound test fire line on it. The old fire line that was really
unbreakable,
nasty.
Yeah.
Right. And I hooked this 5-pounder in a barge and seesawed it in the barge, and the line, I got the boat, the fish in the boat, and the line was just tore up, but I didn't lose them and I didn't break them off.
That's fucking badass.
It was nuts, cool. Man. It was like all these barnacles and stuff in this freaking barge, I mean,
Battle of the Barge, man. Kramer wins. Kramer, for those of you guys, you can't really tell, but Kramer, how tall are you?
6'6".
6'6". I felt like you were 7 foot when I met you. He's an imposing guy. Let's just say that. So when I first fished with Kramer, man, he was kind of an imposing figure, man. But when he does a hook set with a jig, it's something to be seen. You don't throw a jig much anymore. What happened?
Yeah, I'm not catching them on it, dude. I mean,
it just doesn't make sense.
I have a flipping. I've got one sitting right here. I've got 2 flipping sticks with jigs on them, and one is a punching jig, and the other one's just a half ounce, for flipping.
Yeah.
And, I was down in Nanjemoy 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was catching some darn good ones down there during a pre-fish. And I got to tell you, I was flipping a jig. I was happy as a clam, I was like, damn, I want to do this all day. We ran down there, low tide in Nanjemoy at 10 a.m., right? Perfect. We get down there at 8:30. The wind blew the wrong way. The tide never freaking went out. We caught 2 dinks.
Right.
If the tide doesn't go out on a tidal water, that's all structure, you're probably not going to catch them because they're up in the reeds and shit. and you need the tide to come out, so it gets them out on, gets them out on the easier catch places to catch them, like, on pieces of wood and whatnot.
You know what I thought was really amazing when I fished with you early? You and Richard Waiter. Richard was a guide for Bill, Potomac Guide Service, and I fished a lot with Bill. And if Bill wasn't available, I fished with Richard. And the rhythm of the tides, you were so dialed in about where to go, not only what to throw and how, but depth, speed, cadence, right? Because the timing of it. You got so in sync, it was scary. It was unbelievable to me.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
It became, you hear pro anglers, not pro anglers, but pro like football players. You talk about the zone. Okay?
In the zone, you were there.
In the zone, and there was times that I would see a flash out of the side of my eye, and what it was a bait fish coming out of the water. Turn, cast to it, catch a 4-pounder. Whatever. I mean, it was, you were just dialed in.
Yeah, man.
I wish I could get that in sync again.
Well, you were on the river 5 days a week. I mean, right?
What's your mindset today going into a tournament? Do you expect to win?
Yes. I don't expect or want. Let's put it that way. There's a difference there.
Great question.
I don't really. Yeah, it is a great question. Expecting, never. You know why? Because it's fishing, and everything affects fishing. Weather, pressure. This is the only game, okay, or the only sport, professional sport, where you have other people on your playing field, that aren't part of your tournament. I mean, there's there's other tournaments going on. There's pleasure fishermen. There's pleasure boaters. You've got all these different things going on. It's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. There's, God, I mean, any given day you go out on the Potomac River, there'll be 4 or 5 tournaments going on. So, so imagine if you were playing a pro football game and there's 4 teams playing 2 different games on the same field.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is the only sport where that happens. You don't have 2 tournaments going on the same golf course the same time. You've got one tournament, and you don't have any pleasure guys coming out during the tournament because the golf course is closed because there's a tournament going on. Even when the elites come to a body of water, I mean, they have the same problem. There's pleasure fishermen. There's other club tournaments and stuff. I mean, it's the only sport where you have that. And the problem with the Potomac is it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And, people, crowding. It's, but you go into Belmont Bay in the springtime, dude, there's 40 or 50 boats in there. I freaking hate it.
It's like the old days, like Brian's Cove. I can remember being in a tournament. I was fishing my club tournament, and there must have been 30 boats in a cove that's, that was like 100. That was like 100 in Belmont. I mean, it was ridiculous, and they were still loaded in there. And so for me, it became, what's the sneaky technique where I can, and that particular tournament, I was throwing a split shot rig with a French fry and literally outfishing everybody in the cove. Yeah, light 8-pound test. It was the way I was leaving in the bed. If I felt any gravel, I just shake that slack line. A little split shot was super finesse. That do nothing. French fry, dude, it smelly jelly, maybe that didn't matter, but it had the UV, the green and frickin' chartreuse flake. And every time I catch one, they would descend upon me or get closer. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I had to dead stick. I had to dead stick the bait to get a bite because they were bedding. Right. So I would just leave it there, and people didn't have the pace. The more I caught fish, the faster they fished. The faster they fished.
Do you remember a thing I used to call KMF? You remember that term?
No.
So, pardon my French, kamikaze motherfucker. I had a little 4-inch lizard that I called KMF because that thing would freaking catch them.
It was the Zoom.
Fish with it. I could carry a line. No.
Wasn't a Zoom?
No, it was a Berkeley, and I still have them. And I still throw them. Kamikaze motherfucker is what it was. KMF. Because that thing was suicidal. Fish would eat it.
When's the last time you threw it?
I threw it this spring.
Did you catch them?
Yeah.
Did you throw it on a 16th or a 3/32nd with a little bullet weight? How'd you fish it?
There you go. You're sniffing up the right angle there, dude. Because if the lighter weight you can get away with for bed fishing in my book, the better off you are.
Very
Dude, wait,
interesting.
you were with me I was throwing weightless Sinkos with a 5/0 freaking hook. Remember that?
Oh,
On
dude,
20-pound test.
Absolutely. Oh, dude.
Yeah, man. Just talk about, I mean, as light a weight as you can get away with. And I was pitching that thing, 20-pound test with 5/0 hook, freaking 6-inch Senko. And I'm sight fishing with it. I'd see a break in the grass, I'd pitch it to it and just let it trickle down and freaking whack it.
Absolutely.
It's all about presentation. There's so much to it. Speed, line size, color, weight.
Agreed.
I mean, there's so much to it.
Yeah, we could have a whole nother 4-hour session on that.
Just on presentation. You're on right.
You're damn right, dude. Depth, speed, and cadence, baby, and like the lure shape, size, color, for sure. I'm all about it.
It's all part of it. It is.
You've seen it, man. You've seen it. I've been on the back when it's happened. I've been on the, been on the winning side of that equation, and also the damn, I wish I could catch them like that side of the equation. You ever been there, JP? I had a guy that just was dialed in with the lure, like depth, speed, cadence, and just whipping your ass, and you can't match it.
Yep.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah, we've all seen it. We've all seen it.
It's all part of it. I mean, I've had co-anglers, but I was in a tournament, a 2-day tournament at SQT co-angler. He's catching them. I'm not. We're throwing traps, dude. Throwing traps.
Yeah.
Okay, my fish, we're down on Arkandale in a little cove. I mean, probably 50 by 50. Have it all to ourselves. And he's catching them. I'm not. We're just, dude, he takes a brand new one out of the package. Okay, a rattle trap, ties it on, and is whacking me. And here I am. I've got all these sexy Japanese freaking, traps and stuff, and I can't catch it. He's got like 17.5 pounds. I got Zippo. Nothing.
Wow.
You know what it was?
What?
It was presentation, dude.
Of course. Well, yeah. Some
he was throwing a slower speed rule,
reel.
Speed reel, and he was also throwing lighter tests. I'm throwing 17 with a 6-3-1. He's throwing 14 on a 5-1-1.
5-1-1. Who throws a 5-1-1 anymore?
David Fritz used to.
I did too.
That was his deal.
I had two Shimano green Curado tanks, man. That they call them tanks because those things just never broke. And I had 5-1-1s. I used to love cranking with those in the spring because I tend to overwind. Right. It's crazy.
That was Richie Martin, Dick Martin's son, and he just whipped my butt. It was a 2-day deal. And
what'd you do the next day?
The second day, I never made a cast until he caught his 5th fish.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
No, you're darn right. I mean,
did he end up winning?
He made the state team.
That's cool.
And so when he caught his 5th fish, and I thought he had enough to do what he needed to do, I went out. I said, "Okay, you feel good about this? You're in a good spot? Yada yada." And he's like, "Yeah, man, I feel great." And I said, "Okay, we're going flipping." And I went flipping, and I caught 0. These boys talk about swing for the fences and all that stuff. I went flipping. I figured if I caught a 20-pound bag, I might have a shot of making it, and I caught 0. Right. So I went for it. It didn't happen, and whatever. That was the best way for me to catch a big fish was flipping.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. And you've been on the winning side of that equation a lot, but I got one more story I want you to tell before we put a bow on this thing. So I remember Kramer all power. Like every time Kramer, no spinning rods on the deck, not even spinning rod on the boat for years.
Back then, yes.
I got it back then. So you're winning after day one. I don't know if it must have been a regional or a qualifier, and you're fishing broad, right? And your second day guy or your first day guy, it might have been your first day guy had a weenie worm on because I remember the story and caught like 17 pounds out of the back of the boat. And a lot of people were crowding you that day.
Right.
Tell the story. What happened?
Well, so this was a 2-day BFL.
That's right.
Okay. And so I don't know which part of the story. There was so much to it. I mean, it was pretty insane. I mean, he's catching them. I'm struggling, and I'm throwing a swim jig, which was my deal that time. Back then. There it is. That one, a hand tied by yours truly. A hand pulled by you.
That's a bad little bitch. That's a little bitch.
If you can see it. That the 5/0 owner. Oh yeah. Anyway, so
Deep throat.
He is. Huh? They're deep
Yep.
throat, but it's a 5/0 deep throat. That's right. That's a
right.
3/8 ounce hand tied 5/0 hand poured. Oh,
that has done some damage on the river.
It has. It's a great little bait. I mean, I'm not sure where you want to go with the story, but you know, second day I go up there and I'm trying to catch them on the weenie stuff, and I'm still not catching them. You know, it wasn't my deal. You know, I wish I'd known about a drop shot back then.
Oh
that would have killed them. You know, now I know about a drop shot. I've got drop shots in the boat constantly now. I mean, always. I mean, when we were throwing them this fall, we were throwing them this past spring. You know, bed and fish and drop shots a deadly deal in the Potomac. You know, a lot of people do it. You know, it's really good. I mean, I wish I had it back then. I really did.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it's a you know, fishing's a weird deal. It's you know, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of concentration. If you really, really want to get into it, it's just, you know, God, there's so many different facets to it. You know,
you know, no doubt,
I mean.
man.
I don't know how many, you know, tackle trays I've got, probably 40 of them with different types of stuff in it, you know. I mean, and you got to you can't just pick up a Rico and throw it. You can't, I can't tell you how hard it was for me to teach people how to fish a spook properly.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, the cadence of it and stuff, and sometimes they want it this way, sometimes they want it that way. Just getting the bait to walk.
It's still a big fish bait, man. Oh, still a big fish bait, dude.
I still throw them. I still catch them on it, you know. And I go, you catch them on a spook? Yeah, man, I'm catching them on a spook. Favorite spook these days? You know what that is?
Let's say gunfish, baby.
That's a gunfish 110, baby.
That's a bad bitch. Down to the bone, man. You got the bone showing on that thing.
Yeah, man. You know, it's a weird deal, and there's so many different facets to it, and you got to get good with all of them. And I got to tell you, the best thing you can do is be versatile.
Yes.
You know, really, that's really the best thing you can do is be versatile. You can't be a one-trick pony. You can't just go out there and throw a jig on drop-offs anymore.
Well, if you're up north, apparently you can, because Travis Manson, that's all he wants to throw these days, and he's good at it.
Yeah.
And think about back in the day when you were doing it. 6 jigs rod. That's crazy. Travis, you've arrived where Kramer was.
I see that.
He was first starting to fit it. Isn't that crazy?
Different fisheries, though.
I get it, but it's still amazing to me that, you know, Kramer's on the Potomac in his early days with 6 jig rods on the deck. And now you're up north fishing smallmouth. And if you could get away with it, you would just have 6 jig rods on the deck. That's pretty cool. And one of them might be black. He's got his color and his jig's called Mothman. I mean, it's not his primary one, but would you say black has been a very important color in the smallmouth realm for you over the years?
Sure. I think it's good anywhere.
Yeah, it still continues to be. So straight black, and it makes sense because bass eat contrast, right? Their eyes are built for contrast. What's one of the most contrasting colors? Black or white. There you go. Fascinating stuff, man. I love it. I could talk fishing with Kramer all day long. Thank God I'm traveling with him. It's good. Dude, we could do a 4-hour session on this stuff. There's so many stories.
Kramer, are you willing to come back and talk some secrets on the Potomac for this coming season?
Sure. Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, we'll do that. So we were talking. So one thing I want to throw out there, we're talking about ChatterBaits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Black blade, and you were showing it. I'm just saying, black blades. You know, it's you know, for me, it just seems that a black blade on a white chatterbait's the deal. Now you go down to Florida where they got golden shiners. I mean, that's different. Just throwing a gold blade. Different. Go ahead.
Hey, Kramer, I got some gold foil for that, man. I got a way to apply it.
I happen to know one of the world's best gold leaf guys in the world. It's my brother.
Don't you have a gold leaf Rico in your possession somewhere?
You want me to pull that out?
I think you should. This may be the only gold leaf Rico in the world. I'm going to show a gold leaf thing I did. Kramer, your brother has to give me some tips because he did a horrible job. But I want to show this.
I did a horrible job, or he did a horrible job.
No, I did a horrible job. I gold leafed something recently. Because my dad, I told you this, man. My dad. So this is a Berkeley spin rocket.
There you go, gold leaf.
And I gold leafed it with my dad's gold leaf, and I left a little bone showing. So it's like been chewed. So you got a little bone showing. Like Kramer. I'm gonna catch a big. You goddamn right. I'm bringing it to Florida. Plus, I got a what you call it color, a gill color. So that those will be the only 2 I throw, but that's going in the game this year.
It should.
Hell yeah, man.
Should.
Mobile. I'll have to gold leaf a couple because I got like 4 or 5. So I'll have one for you and one for
you
Zot.
need to do one. You need to do one. The reason you need to do one, you need to see if you can catch them on it first. Don't do 4 or 5. Do one first and see if you can catch them on it. Why would you 4 or 5?
Hey, I know I'm gonna catch them on it because that gold boy howdy won the day with you and Zot down there that one day. The gold boy howdy. I brought back an old school Florida bait. It was a very cold day, but they wanted that boy howdy. They were cracking that thing, man. That was down on what was that place? I saw the manatee. That was Rodman, and we fished the canals. We went to Rodman that day.
Yeah, but I remember us fishing up in Emerald. What the hell was that called? Backwaters off of Griffin. What's it called? Emerald.
That's right.
Right. And you've thrown that thing and you freaking whacked us.
Emerald Bay. Gryffindor wins. Yeah. Good
there
shit,
you go.
Man. Kramer's a bait hack like I am, Travis. So, we jam, we talk, man. We like the little finer things in life, man. We think about shit like that. That's why I'm grooving tonight. Thank you for letting me do this, Travis. I've been wanting to have Bill. Bill and I have fished. We almost won the Battle of the Border, 3rd place, man. We had a shot at the win that day, but that was a hell of a tournament, man. I wish I could fish more tournaments.
We needed one more good one. One more good one is what we needed.
Yeah, and here's the irony.
We had a lot of fun, and we had that shit all to ourselves too.
But you know what's cool? No, they weren't. No, you know what's cool? So I had a color remade called Fire and Ice in a Rio Rico, and I gave it to Tom Bateman.
Oh shit!
And Dave,
that's right.
And Dave Wilder, and they won. And that popper that morning, and that popper was part of their win.
Right.
JP, and here's the story, Travis. Nobody knows this story too, but in addition to them catching some key fish on that popper I gave them that morning in that recreated color, Travis and JP, listen to this. So they're in a grass bed. It's raining. We're there. We got a little rain on us too, right? It's cloudy, overcast, perfect day for topwater. Anyway, dude, he cast literally. Oh yeah, so he casts his buzzbait and he's reeling his buzzbait in. He hooks a big one. He goes to set the hook, and the rod flies out of his hands into the bucket. They go and get the rod, and the fish is still on the buzzbait, and they reel in a 5-pounder plus. How did that fish stay hooked? I think the fish was jumping while they went to locate the rod, like a ricochet out of his hands, like 25 feet away from the boat. And they go retrieve.
I'm going to make one comment to that. It's better to be lucky than good any single day.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry I made us lose, Kramer. What can I say?
Listen to you.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Kramer, thank you so much for coming on, man. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Yeah, I hope everybody did in the comments, man. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, bro. We'll be down in Florida in February. Yeah, and I can't wait, man. We're traveling down to the Harris chain there, Travis. We might fish a couple different places. That's right. That's exactly what it is.
I actually got info on another place we're going to fish down there. I'm not going to talk about it here, but we'll talk about it in person.
All right, beautiful, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Me and Mr. Kevin Zott. Yeah, man. And you.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Looking forward to it, man. Peace, brother. We'll see you, man. Happy holidays. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well, that was pretty good.
Well, T-Bone, man, thank you, bro.
Yeah.
For hours.
That guy's been guiding for as long as I've been alive. 1984.
He doesn't guide anymore. He sold his business a long time ago. Now he just fishes team tournaments and practices with me. That's his jam. Yeah, he sold his guide business. Good God, over 20 years ago, maybe longer. Yeah, he ran it for a while though. Yeah. When he was guiding, dude, he was dialed. It was really cool to fish with people that had been on a body of water for 5, 6, 7 days in a row for a long period of time, just to see the decisions they made. When I learned a lot from both of them, man. All the river guides that I've fished with. So, and hopefully I've taught a few people a few things too along the way and pass it on. So, thank you guys for letting me get my river jam on. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed it, man. What else? All right, good, man.
I know. What? Why are we ending so soon?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was over. I thought you wanted to just wrap it up with Kramer and then wrap the show. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I got shit to do, but it is Christmas time, guys. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. We're going to be back next week. I want to know, though.
Yes, tell me.
Do you think we should do an auction next week, Monday?
I could do it, man. I've got to the room that is adjacent, which is way bigger than this bass lab. I've cleared it out, and I'm setting up a master building station for some bass lab creations.
All right.
I've got myself a new vise. I mean, we could do some live sessions out there, maybe, and watch me tie some jigs up because I've got some new things coming from the Bass Lab.
JP, you in?
What is that?
You need me to see if the auctioneer is available for next Monday morning?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, man, I'm in.
I got a few things. Let's put some together. Small little auction next week, Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to put some stuff together.
All right.
And, yeah, I mean, tell us what you guys want to see. I mean, Travis will have some things. I'll have some things. But if there's anything you'd like to see from the Bass Lab, let me know. You want to see lots of stuff? You want to see individual stuff? I don't know. I'm very curious.
All right.
Steve Hardy wants to know if you've been doing any steelhead fishing.
I was just typing to him, and I typed it too quick. Too much hitting it. And
Steve, too much busy duck hunting.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time, we'll see you guys on the water.
See you on the water. Oh, yeah.
Next week, Monday.
Thanks, everybody.